Welcome back to the Canada Specialist Program webinar series and to this very special mid-year Canada cluster. So we thought it would be a good time of year to catch up with our local Canada crew, all our local representatives. You can see all their lovely faces on the screen. Give us a wave, guys. There they all are. They're all being very good and very quiet. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the Indigenous peoples and traditional custodians of all the lands we meet on and learn about today. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the territory of the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people, as well as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who have called these lands home for generations beyond measure. So yes, thank you. We'll say hello to the panel. Nath, how are you doing today?
Hey Charlie, hey everyone, I'm doing well. Thanks everyone for joining us on this mid-year update. Looking forward to covering off a few things, and we've got a great team of partners with us today, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll just do a quick hello to everybody. So Zoe from Air Canada. Zoe, how you doing?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. A little bit cold here in Sydney today, cold and wet, so it's so nice to see everyone's smiling faces.
Yeah, I think everyone's a bit chilly, although we talk a bit about winter today, but that's all good. We like winter in Canada.
What, much better in Canada?
Much better in Canada. Who can I see next? Lizzie. Lizzie, how are you today?
Hi, good. Well, I'll be talking about the snow in the Rocky Mountains, so I'm a good setting the scene here for winter.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Frank from Rocky Mountaineer, how are you?
Really good, really good. Not as cold here. Kids got in the pool this morning up in Queensland.
Wow.
So it's the mid-year, so not for long, but they're in. So they're it's a good time to talk cold.
We're all coming to your house, Frank. That sounds good. And then Ray and Sean together down there. Ray and Sean, how you doing?
Hi everyone, great to see everyone. Looking forward to having a good chat, and yeah, we'll get stuck into it shortly.
Yeah, cool. Nathan, can you just move the slide forward, please? So I'll just, go over what the plan is today. So we have some short and sweet updates. They are literally just a couple of minutes from each, just to check in, just some key points and things you might need to know. And of course, there will be follow-up. This is recorded as well, so you can revisit it. But yeah, it's really just to check in with all of our local reps. And you'll see Destination British Columbia is on there. Joanne is not with us, but she has a special message for you, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, Nate's going first. So we're going to say goodbye to everybody else. They're all just going to pop on when it's their turn. So thanks, team. We will see you all in a bit. We'll just hang on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Looking good. Okay, Nath, over to you first, please.
All right, cool. Thanks, Charlie. So I thought today, in the few minutes I've got, that I'd just go over, I guess, some of our focuses moving forward. We've just come back from Rendezvous, and we had some head office planning meetings while we were there. And we've got sort of 4 main areas that we want to focus on moving forward. So fall, regenerative tourism or travel, I'm sure you're hearing that term a lot, Indigenous, and also winter. So let's jump into it quickly. So starting with fall, fall's an interesting one for us in this market because we've always seen Aussies travel in that September, October period anyway, not necessarily for fall colours, although they're amazing right throughout Canada, particularly in the east. But also because of wildlife, bears and whales it's a great time to see them in September, October period, particularly the bears, because that's when the salmon is running in BC. And even in October, we get to that period where we can see the polar bears in Manitoba heading into November. So we do see Aussies go there, but it's a period of time that Destination Canada is going to be focusing on moving forward. Regenerative tourism, this is an interesting one. It's the buzzword at the moment. This encompasses lots of things, sustainability, giving back to the community, wildlife and how we handle viewing that. Indigenous also comes into that, and just being conscious of the footprint we leave as we travel. That's coming up in all the research that we're seeing, whether it's our head office research, whether it's research in this market from independent bodies. So you'll see a lot of that as we move forward as well. Indigenous tourism, again, an interesting one for us because it's not generally the main reason Aussies want to go to Canada, but they're actually probably experiencing it anyway and not necessarily realizing at time of booking. For example, the Spirit Bears in BC at Spirit Bear Lodge, that is an Indigenous product. We've got the Aurora Village in Northwest Territories for the Aurora Borealis viewing. That's an Indigenous product. So there's lots of that stuff. We're working really closely with ITAC, which is the Tourism Council, Indigenous Tourism Council of Canada, to try and get more and more of this product into market. So you'll see more of that on us for us. And then obviously winter, we've touched on already because it's so cold in Sydney, but Charlie's right, so much better in Canada, whether it's the Northern Lights in the Yukon and Northwest Territories, whether it's the sugar shacks tasting maple syrup in Quebec and Ontario, or skiing in BC and Alberta, or even things like fat biking, dog sledding, all those sorts of things. And what I thought I'd do to finish my little bit is show you a brand new video. You may have started to see it on our Facebook groups and newsletters, but for those that haven't, it's a little fun video that we've got as part of a winter campaign that we're doing some digital activities with. So I'll show that and then I'll be handing on.
Sometimes you gotta push yourself to the limits. King, I'm a wear a crown. Even if your limit is snowplowing at like 3 miles per hour.
Kilometers. This is Canada.
Sorry. Sometimes you gotta run with the big dogs. Or just kind of get dragged behind them. And yeah, you might fall. I can't feel my ass. Things might get hot. Or a bit chilly. But it's fine. You can just go inside.
Le poison, s'il vous plaît.
Le poisson.
Because when you try something new, even a failure feels like a victory. Try something new. Try Canada.
So there we go. A little bit of a fun video. We're super excited to have a campaign video that's got some humor in it. We think it works really well in this market. So thank you very much for your time. I'm going to hand over to Zoe, I think.
Yeah, Zoe is up next. I love that video. It's so fun. It's really cool.
Oh, I love it too, Nathan. It's such a cool video. I'm definitely the person that's going slow down the slopes. That is 100%. Yeah, it doesn't. You can speed it up on social media, by the way, guys. You can speed your video up so you look like you're skiing faster. So everyone, thank you so much for joining today. Zoe from Air Canada here. Obviously, today we're talking about some amazing destinations throughout Canada, but Air Canada being the national carrier, we have the absolute privilege of being able to uplift your clients from Australia all the way over to Canada. So a few little points that we wanted to touch base on. Some of them you already know, but given it's halfway through the year, thought that I would just remind you. But some really exciting news for us is we've actually, so we will be increasing our services. Currently, as it stands, we are 7 flights per week out of Sydney, but we're actually going to increase those services over the winter season, so Northern Hemisphere winter, to 10 flights per week out of Sydney, which is amazing. And massive thank you for everybody that has been selling our Brisbane services as well. Brisbane has we've just announced that we will be going daily out of Brisbane. And not only are we going daily, we're upgrading our aircraft from a 787 Dreamliner, we're now moving into a 777-300, which now has a capacity of 400 people. So in the peak season, winter peak, we are now going to be uplifting nearly 6,500 people per week over to Canada. So massive thank you to everybody for their support. A few points that we also wanted to mention. We may be saying like a broken record, but we feel like these are really important when it comes to selling Air Canada, is that when it comes to Vancouver Airport, as long as you're traveling Air Canada to Air Canada, there is no need to collect your bags if they're transiting through. Saves so much time and so much less hassle. The same terminal connection in Vancouver as well, which means that you are able to, just go straight from your international flight to your domestic flight all under the same roof. We know how much of a hassle that can be with other airlines and other airports. So we've also got US immigration and customs within Vancouver Airport. So Vancouver Airport's the place to be, guys. You don't need to sell anything else. And then last but not least with us is we also have our 3 classes of service with Air Canada. We have our obviously our signature class, which is our business class. We have a premium economy. Premium economy is really quite special because it has its own little cabin. It's actually separated from business class cabin, and it's separated from the economy cabin too. So it's quite a nice little intimate area to be in, which is really quite nice. And then we have our economy. So really comfortable way of traveling. Also a cabin or a style of traveling that suits every single one of your clients. Just wanted to point out 2 last things that aren't on my slide. We have just recently introduced our basic airfares as well, so our non-refundable, non-changeable airfares. We decided to do this so that your clients do have that option to for a cheaper airfare if need be, but just please remember they are very, very restrictive. So if you don't want that, then I would be selling them on the flex or standard fares. And then last but not least, a really important, really important factor, please make sure your clients do have their ETA when they are traveling to Canada. I know it's a very, very obvious thing when you're booking a client that's going to Canada, get them an ETA. However, even if they're transiting in Vancouver Airport, they might be transiting onto the US or to somewhere else. Even if they enter Vancouver Airport, they still need their ETA even without entering onto Canadian soil. So just a huge reminder, please, because we are getting a lot of people turning up to the airport not having them, and we don't want it to delay our flights or anything like that. So that's all from me. Thanks, guys.
Zoe, thank you so much. Some great reminders there. And also thanks to Air Canada. Air Canada also do support the Canada Specialist Program webinar series. So shout out to Air Canada as well for that. Thanks, Zoe. And Zoe, if you want to share the link to Global Sales University in the chat, please do.
Sure, will do.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, so the next one, Destination British Columbia. Joanne can sadly not be with us today because she's in BC. Lucky Joanne, hosting a famil. So she actually just pre-recorded a little message for you guys. Nath, you can hit play on the video.
Hi everyone, it's Joanne Motta calling in from Victoria in British Columbia, Canada. Sorry I can't make the webinar, but I'm over here hosting a famil right now. Got the Fairmont Empress in the background and the harbour. And I've got a few friends here from Australia, and I thought I'd just get them to tell you what some of the highlights are at the moment. We're on a famil with a focus around sustainability on Vancouver Island. What's your highlight been so far on this trip?
Oh, I really love the food tour. It was very informative. You learn a lot about the city, as well as what great food you can get. And always do it on your first day.
Oh, the peddler, the bike tour around, fantastic. Got to see some of the little local areas, great. Also the bike tour, I loved going through all the local neighbourhoods and seeing some of the beautiful buildings.
I'm the peddler as well, loved going through the local areas as well. The Orca Spirit whale watching adventure, that was really good. That was awesome.
And also the foodie tour was amazing. Lots of different cool food.
Food and exercise is what we're doing on Vancouver Island, and I've got my friend Bernard here from Destination Greater Victoria to tell you about a really exciting award that they've just won over here in Victoria.
Hi, Bernard here from Destination Greater Victoria. Just letting you guys know we just won a great sustainability award for global impact from Destinations International. So we're really thrilled to be the first DMO recognized in this award, and the Australian famil we just had a great first-hand look at what Victoria is all about, the sustainability initiatives in our city. So we hope to see you soon, and thank you CSP for the little showcase here.
Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the webinar. Bye.
Bye. That's a cool little video from Joanne. I'm sure we'd all love to be with her in Canada right now. Cool. I think Frank is up next. It's a little bit of technical difficulty. Here we go. Right.
Well, I'm doing one of those. I'm doing one of those from the train. Funny. We just had Stevie Jacobson on the train, and his first episode just went live today on TV. So we're going to share all that out with everybody, where he got to be a train conductor for the day. which is super, super, super cool. So thank you for having me. Guys, I just want to do a little bit of an update of some of the things I've been talking about already, which is the new changes for next year, which are, we don't change too much, but we've done some significant things with that 2 nights pre and post on all our package tours. It's what the feedback we're getting from agents and clients is they're loving that extra time and that sort of added security and that buffering just in case something goes wrong. And then the hotel tiering system giving our clients that greater choice of standard of room that they want to be in. And also if we do run into a little bit of difficulty in allocation, whether it's in silver or gold leaf, that we have those second tiers to assist that. So those 2 new changes are just, the feedback's been spectacular. Guys, got to be careful. I'm sharing some confidential information with you, but we're actually about to launch a little promotion for next year for 2024 called All Aboard. So this is a great chance for me to plug the agent portal. Make sure you've clicked yes to the marketing information to receive it, because at present it's penciled in to start in just over 2 weeks. 14th of July through to the end of August is the All Aboard 2024 promotion for travel next year. And with the new uplift from Air Canada, it's even easier to get to Canada now. So thanks Air Canada for those extra daily flights out of Brisbane, especially from where we're from. Don't forget about our agent discounts. Our agents discounts range between 20 and 50% off, depending on how far out you're booking. So get in touch with myself or the sales team if you'd like to learn more about those, because we'd love to get the agents on it if we can't get you on a famil, but we are doing some self-led famils too. Some great news, everybody. We've joined the CLIA. And the reason is, yes, we're not a cruise company, but the synergies between cruise and rail out of Vancouver it's amazing. The data, the statistics, bang on the money. We had to join it, so we're in the system. And last but not least, I just want to let you know, it's crazy, but in 6 to 8 weeks, we might be launching 2025. So make sure you save that sales@rockymountaineer.com email address, because we may be joining the cruise industry 1000%. So thanks very much for your time, guys. I really appreciate it.
Nice one. Thank you, Frank. Some exciting news there. And yeah, get on the train, hey? Best way to do it. Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Frank. Okay, let's bring Lizzie back. So Lizzie's got a couple of updates for you. She represents the Canadian Rockies and Calgary and Northwest Territories Tourism. So Lizzie, if you just want to do one after the other and unmute your microphone as well. Thanks, Lizzie.
It's technical day, isn't it? Thanks everyone for joining us. I thought today, because I've got only 3 minutes per area, I would start with sharing some commonly asked questions I get asked by travel agents. So to touch on those for you, and I can also elaborate on the Q&A at the end if anyone has further information that they need to know on transportation from Calgary and getting around to the Rockies. So from Calgary Airport, first of all, getting there, Air Canada fly daily from Vancouver across to Calgary. So it's very seamless once you're in Vancouver to get to Calgary. And then from Calgary itself, the Banff Airporter, Brewster Express, Discover Banff Tours, and Mountain Park Transportation all have transfers available from Calgary Airport, and they're all regular. The only ones that might not be as regular, which you need to check closer on the timetables, is Lake Louise, which is 45 minutes on from Banff. So that's something that you might need to look closer into, but Banff Township itself, very regular. And then also from downtown Calgary to get into Calgary itself, there's the Honor Regional Transit that operates on Fridays through to Sundays and in the holidays. Otherwise, there is the Banff Express as well that takes you from Tuesdays to Sundays and stops at a lot of pointers along the way. And then getting in and around Banff as well, we've got a Roam Transportation, which is the public transport that stops at all major hotels and attractions And to head on to Jasper, it would be the Sundog transportation that would take you there. So there's some of the key names that are worth keeping top of mind when you're looking at transferring to the Rockies in and around. And this information also is all on the travel trade sites, which I listed on the page. So feel free to write those down. Also commonly asked is, do I need a national park pass? And the answer is yes. Everyone visiting Banff or Lake Louise needs to purchase a park pass for entry into the national park. And I believe park passes are commissionable for larger bookings like group tours. You also need to display the pass daily because you can get fined if it's not on the dash of your vehicle when you're traveling in the national park. And you have to get a pass for both Banff and for Jasper. Please note that as well. And there is the other commonly asked question is how to get to Lake Louise and Moraine Lake. Now, these lakes are easy to get to in the winter, and they're just as beautiful. So in the winter, you would book an organised tour from Banff. All the tours from Lake Louise to see Lake Louise in winter are from Banff, and you can't get to Moraine Lake at all in winter. Now, summer is very popular to see them, and it gets a little bit technical and confusing for many people because there is very limited parking at Lake Louise now, and the road to Moraine Lake is permanently closed unless you're actually staying at Moraine Lake Lodge. So you need to purchase a Parks Canada Park and Ride Pass. All the tour operators have connections and information on this, but it's a lot easier if you book a tour from Banff and they just take care of everything. Then you don't even need to worry about the pass and the shuttle timetables because they release tickets. It's almost like getting Taylor Swift tickets and they run out very quickly. So it's worth booking an organised tour from Banff. And finally, I get asked, is there transfers from Calgary to southern Alberta to see places like Dinosaur Provincial Park? And the answer is no, unfortunately, there is not. So your clients really would have to hire a car to do that. Like to see that maybe one day there might be, but at present, please note there is not, unless there was someone like an organised like coach tour that might, I think off the top of my head, say someone like a Colette, or maybe a Trafalgar, they will head down further and they connect into the US. They might stop at some of those, but for independent travellers, no, car hire is the only option. So that's a wrap on the Rockies and Calgary and getting around. Moving on to the Northwest Territories. Again, I've listed the travel trade site for you because it's very handy with lots of information. And for the Northwest Territories, I thought I'd focus on what we're really renowned for, which is the Northern Lights. So getting to Yellowknife, again, Air Canada fly directly into Yellowknife. Now you can go from Vancouver, Calgary, or Edmonton. Being more of an Arctic region, flights do get cancelled no matter who you fly with into these sort of off-grid locations. I find myself that they're more common and more reliable out of Vancouver. So when you're looking to add us on, look at Vancouver, but don't necessarily do it on the first day you arrive. Connect in BC or Alberta somewhere else because you see the aurora at night and it's very tiring to arrive after a flight from Australia and then go out and see the aurora. So that's how you get to Yellowknife, and you actually fly straight into the city. So you're right there. And then the viewing stations are out of the city, which I'll get to. So what are the aurora seasons? We have two. We have winter and we also have summer fall. So there's 2 times of the year you can actually go up and see the aurora in the Northwest Territories. And it comes out between 11 p.m. at night and 3 a.m. in the morning. So it's very much an evening experience. And I suggest never missing a night to your clients or go out every night because it is Mother Nature. And then how do you book an experience with the Northwest Territories? All of our key tour operators and even ski tour operators have packages to the Northwest Territories. So you can contact them for packages and just so you know how the experience will work, they will book your hotel in downtown Yellowknife, but then they book an aurora viewing provider, which is about 20 minutes out of town to take you to the experience. So you're always traveling to and from, unless you book a fly-in, fly-out lodge. Then you would fly 25 minutes from Yellowknife and stay at the lodge the entire time. And then what is there to do in the daytime? Because most of the night is out seeing the aurora viewing. Don't forget, your clients need to sleep at least half the day because they do need sleep. So then you fill your time in the winter with everything from dog sledding, ice fishing, snowmobiling, driving on the ice roads. And then in the summer months, it's more scenic. So seeing waterfalls, going on Great Slave Lake, fishing, wildlife experiences. And finally, how many nights should you book for a chance to see the aurora? In my experience, I would say minimum 4 nights. And also bear in mind if your clients need to add additional pre or post nights due to aircraft arrival, especially if they're going on to fly-in, fly-out lodge, they might still need a pre or post night. So look at that, but never waste a night going out to see the aurora. That's the biggest tip. No matter what, use that night to go out in case it's the only night Mother Nature shines. And that's a wrap from me on aurora.
Lizzie, thank you so much. We love
No
talking about the
problem.
Northern Lights. Such a fantastic bucket list experience. Now, Ray and Sean are coming back. Here they are. And Sean is just going to share his screen. So Ray and Sean are going to do, oh, actually, sorry, Sean's going to do Yukon and VRL. Ray's going to do Manitoba. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much, Charlie. I'm just going to set up the Sheen.
Yeah, you guys just share your screen.
Now,
And also I can see Frank's also shared the Rocky Mountaineer login. Any of our panel want to share links in the chat, please do. Lizzie, if you want to throw those travel trade pages in there, yeah, please do. We'll throw in the resources. There will be follow-up as well. But yeah, if we want any links in the chat. Okay, Sean, you're looking good.
Great. Thank you very much, Charlie. Yeah, really glad that we got to have a good chat with Yukon, first of all. And as Lizzie just mentioned, it's really cool to talk about the aurora at the moment. Not just because the aurora is a really fantastic thing to see, but also because the aurora is actually increasing. We're actually moving on to what we call solar max. And that is between essentially now and about 25, 26, the aurora is increasing in its intensity. That means solar storms activity, solar flares, various different types of solar ejection from the sun is causing the auroras to become more vivid, more vibrant, and more frequent. You probably seen it in the news as well, just people seeing auroras where, not quite as frequent, not quite as usual to see them. So yeah, it's a pretty good thing, and it's a great thing to sort of encourage your clients to talk about aurora, and now is really the time to go. So in terms of Yukon, we have a lot of our aurora tours which are based in Whitehorse. That can either be via a cabin style accommodation, or actually, if you are staying in the city, to do a dedicated aurora tour. And I think, it's quite similar between Yellowknife and also with Whitehorse. The tours do go quite late in the evening. So that's just something to keep in mind. One other thing I also want to mention is aurora viewing in Dawson City. Now, Dawson City is, if you thought like Whitehorse was far in the north, Dawson is even further. It's hugely under the aurora oval. The skies are incredibly dark there. It's a fantastic place to see aurora. And so we've got a few interesting products under development. We have the great viewing where you drive out of town with a tour operator, and they will take you to some aurora viewing spots. But we also have under construction in town a heated terrace where there'll also be a spa facility there. So people will be able to actually go see aurora, enjoy some tea or some drinks and so forth, all within town. And Dawson City is quite a small place, so it actually won't affect the light pollution won't really affect things. So it's actually quite exciting as a different option for aurora. Now, the other thing I just wanted to have a quick chat about was activities you can do for winter and summer in the Yukon. They also are developing more accommodation options there. It's a fantastic spa facility just out about half an hour outside of Whitehorse. it's pretty fantastic. And once all those additional accommodation options are available, it will be a very, very nice place indeed to not only stay, but also enjoy the thermal waters. They do operate night bathing as well. So there's an opportunity to see the Northern Lights from there as well. And of course, all the other things the Yukon is renowned for. In winter, you have your dog sledding, your ice fishing, snowmobiling, and so forth. One other thing I wanted to mention was summertime in the Yukon. We have fantastic activities. A lot of it is all nature-based. The Yukon Wildlife Preserve is available in summer and winter. We have our glass blowing, which is also available in summer and winter. It's a really fantastic way for your clients to bring home a memento of their trip to the Yukon, which is really cool. We also have the train as well, which heads down to Skagway, Alaska. That's really fantastic. It's a Yukon route and White Pass train. And it follows the journey of the Cold Wild. And the other thing I always mention in the Yukon is the fantastic food that we have. It's so VRL, as we all know, what differentiates VRL is that we're a sleeper class product, in that you actually do sleep on board, which is a really great way to actually experience rail, experience the magic of rail. And what we say is, it's a way to sort of fully immerse yourself in the experience. One of the things we are talking a lot about at the moment is winter train travel. We are the only operator, as far as I'm aware, that runs through the winter, and it's actually quite amazing to wake up to the snow and just the vistas of the Rocky Mountains. And as you on the Canadian train, as you head down to the Rocky Mountains into the prairie country, and then finally through to Toronto several days later, it really is quite an amazing type experience. And yeah, we've actually received some pretty amazing stats, and that VRL's patronage is actually up 100% for this quarter. So a lot of people are enjoying the train. And that's also why I would like to talk to you and focus you on winter as well, because the train is pretty popular on summer. And it's good to be able to experience winter when the train is a little bit less busy. And also it enables people to experience prestige class. So for example, prestige class is obviously our premier service. You can see there some of the photographs. But during winter time, some of the activities, or some of the, I should say, amenities, such as the bullet car at the bullet lounge at the end of the train, the prestige seating at the end of the train, is available also for Sleeper Plus customers to use. So it is actually a great way to get some extra value, travel in winter, and you can actually enjoy quite a lot of the prestige facilities, which is quite nice as well. And the final thing I want to talk about was our corridor services. This is on the east coast of Canada. And very exciting news, we actually have brand new trains. We have a brand new corridor service. The train sets are gradually coming online. I think we've got a couple that are running at the moment, and there'll be more as we go on through the year. And it's a really enhanced service. We offer business class and economy class. And one of the key differences is the ride comfort and the noise levels are all very much, I could say it's essentially whisper quiet now. We have increased room, I think increased comforts. Also, our high-speed internet is increased in its bandwidth, which is really great. And of course, with the business class service, you will get meals served to your seat, alcohol is included, and so forth. And then there's 4 economy class purchases available for food and drinks and so forth. So it really is a great way of experiencing the east coast of Canada. And it's also very sustainable as well. It's one of the most sustainable ways of traveling. So that's also quite exciting. And we also feel it's quite an efficient way. Yes, not quite as fast as flying. However, you do actually get to relax. And by the time, you get to an airport and so forth, the actual train travel doesn't really add up too much longer. So I actually think it's quite a relaxing way of seeing the East Coast also. Okay, and I think that's just about it for VRL, but I will hand it now on to Ray, who's going to talk to you about Manitoba.
Thank you very much, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Manitoba, where Canada's heart is calling, as we say. Well, where is Manitoba? It's right in the center of North America. In fact, it's halfway between Vancouver and Toronto, and right really in the center of North America. Fantastic services by air from many US airports, I should say, and also obviously many from Canada cities as well. It is a wonderful cultural city of Winnipeg, which is the capital. It's just under 1 million people living there. It's got everything from museums to great universities. It's a fantastic lifestyle, art and craft, etc., great culinary, and it's certainly a must-do for at least 2 or 3 nights before people go north to Churchill, which is the Vales. One very, very special thing to do before going north is to visit the exhibit at Assiniboine Park, which is like the huge big zoo in Winnipeg, and there's an exhibit there named Journey to Churchill, and these animals, you see them as they would be in the wild. However, they have been injured, they've been brought down to this zoo type facility, and they're recuperating before they would be back into the wild again later. So it's a great way to ease into going up to Churchill and knowing what to expect when you arrive there. Churchill itself is like a frontier town. It's a small populated destination. It's 1,000 kilometers north of Winnipeg. So if you look at, and there's a way of explaining that as a 2-day, 2-night train service. So it's like going from Adelaide to Darwin on the train, as an example. If you're doing it in Australia, it's a 2-hour air flight by a company by the name of Calm Air, which are fantastic. And it is recognized as the polar bear and beluga whale capital of the world. You see some images there of belugas. In the summertime, July through August, there are thousands of beluga whales migrate into the rivers and estuaries around Hudson Bay, and they give birth there, and it is something to behold, just doing a kayak tour, and you'll see the whales coming up. They're very friendly. They're like the dolphin family, part of the whale family. So they're very, very happy to meet and to greet the locals and also the tourists coming through. Also, polar bears are visible there because during the summer months, the males, after being out hunting, they are hibernating, and the females and the young are wandering around in the tundra area, which is like a desert type with beautiful florals and what have you in the area there. Northern Lights is another thing that is absolutely amazing. I know there's been a lot of comment this morning this afternoon, I should say, on Northern Lights. However, it's very, very much a focal point, both from Churchill and other parts of Manitoba also, but also out in the tundra. So you can see it out maybe doing polar bear viewing during the day, and then in the evening you can see the Northern Lights as well. Polar bears, that's what people really go to Churchill for. Absolutely a wonderful area. There are something like 900 to 1,000 bears known in the area. They gather there in Hudson Bay, and then they head off into over into the ice areas to hunt for seals and what have you during the winter months, and then they come back and obviously hibernate, as I said, and the female and the young go out wandering around. Most of the viewing is around October, November. About 80% of visits to Churchill happen in that 6-week type period. However, they are visible in other parts as well. Another thing that to highlight is the fact that there is wonderful accommodations. There are absolutely some fantastic lodges. It is by air out of out of Churchill, maybe by helicopter or fixed wing planes. Amazing lodges that company named Churchill Wild operate, and also Lazy Bear has a lovely old lodge in Churchill itself. And you can also going out there and do like a polar bear safari, which I have done. Went out by helicopter, and then you walk around with a guide, and you can spot bears. I was lucky enough to see a very fascinating bear all close up, and the bear actually went on its back and had all fours in the air, playing like a big white puppy. So it's quite a fascinating thing to experience, just walking and experiencing the wild. So many aspects of bear viewing, polar bear viewing, also belugas in the summertime. So it is a fascinating destination up in Churchill, just 2 hours by air from Winnipeg. And that's about it from us. Thank you very much from Manitoba. And we'll like to see you all in Winnipeg on their way to Churchill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those last 3 updates. Really enjoyed those too. I'm going to invite all of the panel to join me if you guys have any questions.